When did waiters and waitresses become a protected class? If you want to learn who rules over you, find out who you're not allowed to criticize, and for a lot of people, an example of that is waitstaff. Now, I say this as someone who has had a waiter adjacent job before. When I was a dishwasher for 6 months, like 10 years ago, I saw waiters and waitresses from a coworker's lens, through which I have gleaned absolutely no unique perspective to the point where it's weird that I would even mention it. It's basically the equivalent of being like, oh, it's okay for me to talk shit about Asian people. You see, there was a 6 month period where I was briefly a Mexican. I'm not here to talk shit about waitstaff as a whole, though, but there are some peculiarities I would like to point out. Some people seem to think that just because waitstaff are salaried at about 3 nickels an hour, it's our job to make their job easier. I don't mean tipping, we'll get to that part of the topic, but I will see people eat at a restaurant, and then when they're done with the food and ready to go, they act like they're the waiter and start cleaning shit up. My girlfriend's across the table stacking plates, and I'm like, should I tip you instead? I don't make a giant mess when I eat, but if there's crumbs here and there or a drop of salsa, my first instinct isn't to go to the front counter and clock into work. And she admonished my ass for not also wiping stuff down and situating my silverware in an easy to grab fashion. I was stun-locked. I've never been publicly shamed for not doing a job that literally isn't mine to do before. When did we get delegated 20% of a waiter's responsibilities? They bring you to your table, they take your order, they bring your order, they take the check, they clean the area. 5 things on the checklist as far as customer handling goes. Lots of places let you seat yourself, especially if you go to a bar area, so that's another thing off the list for them. If you're at a buffet, the staff don't even bring you anything. You get your own food and you pay on the way in, but I'm sure even at a buffet place where waitstaff now only do 2 things, take payment and clean, lots of people will still go out of their way to clean, at which point the staff has officially graduated from waiter to cashier, and maybe that $4 an hour makes a little more sense. Again, I will reiterate, I don't dislike waitstaff in general. When I am at a restaurant, I treat them normally. I say the things that I want, they bring them, I enjoy them if they're enjoyable, I give the gratuity you're supposed to give, and I'm on my way. I'm not rude or condescending to them, which I have seen people in my vicinity do, and it makes me physically ill that you can be IRL in front of a person's face and speak to them like they're a servant who must obey. Are they a servant who must obey? Yes, but you're not supposed to speak to them that way. Like, if I lived in the 1800s and my family owned slaves, I'd be nice to them too. I'd be like, thanks for the stew, Harriet Tubman. Sorry my dad whipped you last night. He can be a real jerk. Honestly, fantastic transition to a tangent on slavery. It's crazy to me how people would mistreat their slaves. Like, if they were good slaves, why are you being an asshole? If they sucked, I get it. If they're out here fumbling dishes and putting no effort into churning butter, then some frustration is bound to manifest. But if they're an A-plus slave, why the hate? Obviously, they viewed slaves as less than human, but for them, it's still like abusing a dog that cooks and cleans for you. Your life is better for owning them, and you're a dick about it. The hell's that about? Anyway, waitstaff aren't slaves, but their job depends on being just as helpful and resilient. If you ever watch comedians in cars getting coffee, Jerry Seinfeld talks to waitresses like they're toddlers and it's super uncomfortable. And he's filming, so they just have to smile at his blatantly mean jokes, and it reinforces his idea that they're funny instead of intolerable. The only waitstaff I have a problem with are the ones I see on Twitter all the time complaining about how we, as the customer, don't bend over backwards enough to make their job virtually non existent and still demand big tips for doing literally less than the bare minimum. Tipping is a surcharge, it's a tax. If you go to a restaurant, food doesn't cost what the menu says it does, because when you group it all together, now you gotta add 18% to the bill because companies don't want to pay waiters like they're a normal ass job and want us to do it instead. We already pay all government employees with our taxes, why not waiters too, but like a much larger amount more often. You always hear about waitstaff being destitute slumdogs who can't earn a living, but I'm pretty sure this bitch just pocketed $60 from 3 tables of 4 over the course of 45 minutes and then went on Twitter and told people to organize their plates for her. Do your own job. I was a dishwasher and I didn't walk out to customers after a meal with a rag like, hey, can you scrub these before you go? Also, can you never order cinnamon rolls again? The icing sucks to get off and it would really help me out. Thanks. The janitor comes up behind me like, can you guys pretend the bathrooms are closed? It's not up to the customer to make your life easier. They shouldn't make it harder, but they don't need to make it easier either. It's a real societal disparity, because here in America people get mad at you for not tipping, but I think British people just tell their waiters to fuck off when they're done. You want a reward for doing your job? Are you mental? Get a load of this cunt, he wants a treat like a dog. You think you're a good boy, do ya? You know how some British accents do that? They do their THs as Fs. It's impossible to use that accent and sound intelligent at the same time. My IQ's 93. As far as waiters go, I just like criticizing people you're not supposed to criticize. I think it's a fun exercise. Make a Wish kids, do they even still do that? It doesn't get much more selfish than a Make a Wish kid. They ask every bedridden child, "What's your dying wish?" All of them are just, "I want to make my favorite celebrity sad. I have 6 hours left. Let me be a bummer one last time." All those celebrities that do that and talk about it like, no, the kids are having a great time. They're super excited and fun. Now you're lying. That 6-year-old won't shut up about never being able to eat ice cream again and how devastated their mom's going to be when it finally happens. John Cena has probably unplugged like 5 kids while their parents weren't looking. They're too weak to scream. And he just stares at them like, "You can't see me." Then he gets a call, answers the phone in Chinese, and runs away. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos with 2 broken toes like I got right now. And I'll see you guys next time.